Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race C Race and Strategy Guide, and finally PD have served us up something quite interesting because we are taking the Group C monsters from Group 1 to Daytona International Speedway, and we've even got some legit tyre wear and fuel wear there and as well. It's only the racing medium tyres are available. Obviously the intermediates and wets are also available but are not required for Daytona, which doesn't have any inclement weather, as they say. There's no mandatory rules in terms of pit stops and tyre requirements. Refueling is at 10 litres per second. Now that's kind of important because there is the possibility some of you out there may well be refueling. BOP is on, damage is light, it's a formation start, and slipstream is real. So with no mandatory rules and kinda seeing what that kind of fuel was going to be like and the tyre wear, my kind of initial thoughts were, let's jump into the car, set up a custom race with the race settings and see if we can do a no stop. Now I have chosen the Porsche, I've been chin for that before. I've chosen the Porsche 962C. Basically it's my favourite of the Group C cars from GT Sport. I always felt it was the nicest one to handle. Now I've not had any time to test all of the cars obviously. It looks to me, going by the leaderboards, that the Mazda 787B is going to be the car to pick. But yeah, we're in the Porsche. If you're not aware what the Group C cars, they're basically late 1980s, early 1990s Le Mans prototype cars that had ridiculous amounts of horsepower, and basically they kind of had to stop the category because they were just getting too powerful, they were too fast, and they were essentially getting probably too dangerous for the drivers. Now jumping into this race here, first thing that definitely struck me is it's kind of living up to its reputation of a little bit of a monster, because in the traction zones, and there's 4 decent traction zones in Daytona, you try to get the power down. Very difficult to get the power down in this car. As I said, I've not tested any of the other cars, but in the Porsche, definitely having trouble getting that power down out of the likes of turn 1 that we're coming into here. Then you've got the hairpin at International Horseshoe, I think it's called, and then there's 2 actual further hairpins after that. So yeah, that tyre wear then becomes quite a significant factor because we're on the medium tyres. Tyre wear is at times 4, but these cars obviously try to put all that power down, do wear out the tyres quite quickly, so you can actually see the tyre wear is fairly severe. But before we get to the tyre wear properly, let's just talk about fuel. The fuel is pretty marginal in the Porsche here. Again, I've not tested the other cars, but the AI cars that I kind of set up in all the Group C cars, none of them pitted either for refueling, and we all know that AI are not exactly great when it comes to strategy, so they all managed to do the 12 lap race without pitting for fuel. I didn't have to do any fuel saving, although fuel was pretty marginal by the end. In the Porsche I could just kind of rev the car out and yeah, keep an eye on the fuel but not really worry about it too much. The tyres on the other hand were definitely of far more concern. Not got the brake balance controller at the moment, so we can actually try and mitigate that rear tyre wear by moving the brake balance to the front. And as you can see, those rear tyres are definitely not a lot of fun to drive on towards the end of the race. Now the car is very sketchy even when the tyres are fresh and good. Once the tyres get to that point, you really have to be so careful on the throttle. Can't emphasise it enough. You're going to see a lot of people spinning in this race, I'm pretty certain of it, and I wouldn't be too ashamed to use traction control towards the end of the race because the car was becoming a real handful. Try to put down 800 brake horsepower on pretty warm medium tyres out of some of these traction zones, not surprisingly it was a bit of a handful. Now the no stop, as you can see there, wasn't too much of a problem, tyre wear aside, but I was kind of interested because of that tyre wear, maybe coming in for a fresh set of medium tyres, lap 6 might be the way to go in this one. So let's take a look at the pit loss in this one. Group 1 tends to not have too big a pit loss in Gran Turismo. So into the pits we come here, main shot, the pit stop, insert shot, we've got a car not pitting. As we exit the pits here, obviously be careful of the white line, don't want a 3-second penalty. You are going to lose 16.5 seconds. As I said, fuel is marginal, but should be okay. But 16.5 seconds, even with that tyre wear, I think that's probably just a little bit too much to try and make up with the tyres. Even at 2 seconds a lap, that's 12 seconds. you're also probably going to have to negotiate some traffic along the way. It is looking like a no-stopper, folks, but at least it's a no-stopper with a little bit of interest in terms of watching that fuel. Tyre wear being a bit of a, well, quite a big factor towards the end of the race. It's going to be a race of survival in many ways, this one. It's a no-stop survival race, if you like. I would be concentrating a lot of my efforts on this one if you're looking to get good results and just not binning the car. As I said, the second half of the race, with that tyre wear kicks in, these cars with the power they've got, the sort of layout of the track, try to get that power down. You can see just there in the shot from the replay just how much the car is squirming. That's coming out of the last of the traction zones onto the banking. Another zone where you're going to see people spinning out. I think you're going to see so many people spinning out, particularly on the first part of the week. People do tend to get used to the car as the week progresses, but yeah, survival is the key here. Keep the car on the track for 12 laps. Don't spin it up. And also another big factor in this one is going to be that penalty, or that track limits penalty out of the bus stop chicane. Seems very, very sensitive, so do kind of practice that one a good bit. Make sure you're not cutting the margins too fine. There was a few times I picked up a half-second penalty and I was quite surprised by it. So yeah, make sure you've got at least half your car over the white line to the right hand side, and you should just mitigate that potential for the penalty. Even a half-second penalty where the penalty zone is in Daytona is going to be very costly for your race. But yeah, it's looking like a no-stopper. Well, I'd say it's definitely a no-stopper. Reduce your aggression, make sure you're not spinning, look after those rear tyres where you can, watch the fuel because it is kind of marginal, don't pick up those penalties and you should be golden. But we'll finish here with a lap guide. Into turn 1, you're looking for the double yellow white line on the left hand side of the track. That's a good sort of braking reference for the first corner. Trail braking into turn 1, and yeah, make sure you get the car nice and straight when you try to accelerate out of there as well. Coming out of the second hairpin, again the same advice, make sure you get the car nice and straight before you hit that power. Be very ginger on the throttle as you exit there. Full speed through here, and you're looking for just before the end of the kind of little bit of tarmac on the left hand side. Sort of halfway through that, braking into that third hairpin should see you pretty good, and that's just at the start of the tarmac on the right hand side. For the hairpin on to the back straight should see you nice and safely into the braking zone there. Be very careful on the throttle because you're kind of trying to put the throttle down, turn the car, and then you come onto the banking. All of these things can upset the car and see you spin off again. Throttle control is key here. Coming into the bus stop chicane, you're looking for the number 2 board, but it's actually kind of the little black marker on the fence just after the 2 board. You can brake as late as there. Again, excuse me, be very careful on that exit. You can see there, we're going to pick up a half-second penalty. I thought we were pretty good there, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of spins, you're going to see a lot of these half-second penalties. As I said, to me, this one, it's all about trying to survive. 12 clean laps, you should start picking up some good results, because so many people are going to spin this car and pick up penalties. Or pick, well, in terms, not this car, but these cars in general. Unfortunately, I can't live stream this one today, certainly not during the daytime. There may well be a late stream because of work. Very disappointed in that one. PD finally came up with a good race and I can't really get too stuck into it on the Monday. But yeah, hopefully this guide has been useful in some way, shape or form. Please let me know in the comments if it has. Please let me know in the comments if it hasn't. But yeah, have fun with this one. I think this is a good race. Again, it's a no-stopper, a little bit unfortunate, but as I said, at least it's a no-stopper with a little bit of an interest to it because of that fuel and those tyre wear. And you should see a lot of mistakes in this one, and that can always lead to interesting races in my opinion. But yeah, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.